Hey, so good evening, everybody. It's a Wednesday again. Yay. Hmm. So the non-dual mind in us greets the non-dual mind in you. And we're going to explore a little bit this aspect of ourselves with which we have such a very complicated relationship. Or through which we relate is a better way to say it. So the mind, maybe first of all, it's when we talk about the non-dual mind, it's important to clarify what we're referring to. Because so often in spiritual endeavors and meditations, we'll hear that the objective is to get to this place of no mind, to release the mind. But in other schools, such as Buddhist schools, the word mind is treated in a very different way, in a way which feels a little bit more like the perceptive emptiness. And for others, from a materialistic background, the mind might be seen as being literally the brain inside the skull, which is believed to be containing thoughts, memories, imaginations, just about everything. Maybe that's the strongest illusion of all, that somewhere inside the skull there is the containment of all of that experience. That's where it's coming from. But, we're free to believe what we want. Believing is also part of the structure of mind. Oh, no. Also, computers crashing is. I thought of everything except the battery. Wait a second. Yes. And yes, we are safe. We're not going to run out of juice. So the mind. We love it. We hate it. We worship it. Intelligence is everything. Genius is everything. Thought is everything. And we demonize it. It's what makes us miserable. What makes us different from those happy animals, those delightfully happy trees, and all of those other forms of life. It's showing up through our language in a kind of chaos between a curse and a blessing and all the fragmentation in between. We blame it for our sicknesses, for our suffering, and we expect it to somehow fix and strategize ways out of it. We see it as the enemy of healing, but it's through our minds that we seek to heal. When it comes to the old school of mindfulness, there's been argument about that whether it should be called mindfulness, because mind implies thought, and thought is no. But when the term mindfulness is used, it's evoking again that background awareness, that perceptive emptiness through which all sensations appear. So we could experience profound confusion. That sensation of confusion, that experience of confusion, that appears as a sensation through what we might call mind. And that is not just in this area of the head, of consciousness and thought. It's also, if we just take that word confusion, chaos, the perception of chaos. It's appearing also like a kind of distress, a feeling of being lost, shuttered, contradictory, random, in the heart. There's a feeling there. How does it feel to have a heart in chaos, to have feelings in chaos? I love him, I hate him, I want him, I don't want him, I need him, I don't need him. She's everything, she's nothing. I am this, I am that, I am the other, I need this, I want this, but these are all mental reflections of that blizzard that can appear in the heart. Often solidifying at a certain moment, just as a form of depression or stress. What is stress but a kind of blizzard of chaos, energy competing against itself? Love, not love. Free, not free. Happy, not happy, almost happy. What's resistance but a kind of thickening which occurs between wanting and not wanting, needing and hating to need, resisting the resistance. And also, this goes through and is experienced through the backdrop of mind, the non-dual mind. And this also has a physical effect. The body is translating stress. It's of service in carrying this kind of stress. The body is also an extent, part of an organ of consciousness through the senses, of which there are many, 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 many. And also all of these impressions are appearing in this area of mind, your mind. So the whole skin surface is receiving information which appears in the mind. All of the longings and frustrations of the soul or of love, where love is longing or where love is frustrated, where love feels it cannot be, is appearing through impressions within the mind. The big mind, the non-dual mind, this perceptive emptiness. All of the dances of expansions and contractions of any quality of true nature is appearing as impressions in this processing field, this open field, which we could call mind. You see, it's a place of wholeness, conscious, aware wholeness, where impressions are received. And it's possible when leaning back into this dimension, it's often with the back of the head, because this bit needs to release, to notice simple things like the faint stirring of a feeling before it becomes a feeling, like the pressure on the earth before a flower pops through, or a process of understanding which is happening without our knowing even what it is that we're understanding it, and then something begins to become conscious. So mind is also reflecting partly what has traditionally been called the unconscious. Something is bothering me, something is going on. Something is appearing and passing over the threshold of my conscious, becoming conscious. If you listen into the silence, you might notice an impulse, something like an impulse, some kind of stirring within the soft earth of silence as a thought is beginning to emerge. We know it's coming, but we don't know what it is yet. And it shows its first shoots, and then it shows its whole causality. It manifests. So mind isn't such a big deal in terms of content, but it's an absolutely enormous deal when we lose connection with it. Because when we lose connection with it, with this backdrop, the thoughts which appear in mind start to panic a little bit and start to grasp towards this and towards that, this identity, this story, that story, right and wrong, self versus other, me or the neighbor. Dread of the past repeating in the future, so fear and guilt and regret circulating through, moving us out of this presence here now. The irrefutable fact of our perceptive awareness. And we get entangled in there. We get entangled in our thoughts and our imaginations, holding on to the very thing we least want, lest it should grab us from behind. And we get entangled with our emotions by refusing to allow them to be there because it says something about our identity, which we get entangled in. I am this, I am that. I am never angry. I'm always a kind person. I'm always very, very fair. I have to look out for myself. Ay, 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 ay. We get entangled in such a way that we even forget that this is a belief that we picked up in a playground. We begin to think we are it. We are this little clay doll that we made. This fragile little thing that could break at any moment, that could die. And it becomes a kind of chaos, because just as we grasp to one aspect of how we have to be in relation to our partner, we also have to grasp to another aspect of how we have to be when we go to the bank, and another aspect of how we have to be in relation to our birth family, or how we have to be in relation to death, because we've got to keep that one covered. And in this, we're holding together all kinds of fragments. So consciousness is getting recruited in the act of trying to keep the mind together, because there's a feeling that if we don't do something active, there will be chaos. We will lose our minds. We'll become insane. Or that we'll die in this if we don't keep it all together. The fear is of falling, God knows where, but falling to the earth, which apparently is the enemy, or falling into the body, which is another enemy. Falling into hell. Because we fail to keep it all together, to keep our story coherent, to keep our identity coherent. There's a fear that it will make us ill, that it will end really, really bad. And in this ill-being that we imagine, if we don't keep hold of all the fragments in a coherent, orderly way, we actually begin to create our worst nightmare. Because if our worst nightmare is that that terrible thing which must never happen will happen, that one thing which we must never experience will be experienced, the only way we can know of that one thing which must never happen is by having already experienced it. So we're scooping up the horrors which are already here, have already been felt, have already known energies, and projecting it in our future in a way we're worshipping them. So the mind becomes enslaved to the worst nightmare. It starts to center around that. All with this idea that we have to do something in order to be here, in order to be safe, in order to be free, in order to love, in order to belong. We have to do something. And if we let go, there'll be chaos. We will disappear. We will die. We will go insane. We will be isolated forever. We'll float away and never again belong. So this is partly what happens where we are seduced out of trusting this empty, non-dual mind. This space of our awareness, which is here, prior even to consciousness, prior to our sentient awareness, as the dimension in which all of this can be experienced, the dimension of every single experience conceivable. So we lose connection with that open sky which we are, and are taught to believe that we are something doing something, someone doing something in some place, and we have to fight for our right to party, because it could be taken away like nothing. And that will hurt, and it's not allowed to hurt, and we will suffer, and suffering is not okay. And in this, we create the suffering, because there's no relief, there's no release, there's no space. No space of the being aspect of mind, the aspect of mind which simply is. It's not even being, it is what it is, aware, awake. So often we abuse this natural faculty to make order, to recognize patterns, to build languages, to speak, to create, to evoke, to repeat. We abuse this natural faculty of ordering and structuring, which is part of our physiology, actually, part of the left hand, the right hand, the up and the down, the understanding of gravity. You drop an apple, it falls to the ground. Part of our basic ability to structure, our basic tools of understanding, we abuse them in order to run from things which we don't feel we can deal with, that we're taught we're not able to experience. And they become like holy cows, because the more we run from them, and the more we refuse to turn towards them, and the more we entangle with them, the bigger they become. The more they become invested as the central issue in our being here, in this miracle of life. So the duality which we have, which we could have gone in many directions, the duality we have moving with this aspect of non-dual mind is chaos and order. Because so much of the processing of the unknown wonder of being physically here and looking out into this world, deeply into this world, and to feel the one that's looking, the one that's arriving here. Part of this is a dance between pattern recognition and chaos, pattern recognition and chaos. And this dance between chaos and order, when it's free from fear or free from agenda of the separate I to get the good stuff and not the bad, it's an incredible creative process. It's literally how we process being alive. It's literally the mechanics of experience, chaos and order, order exploding into chaos, chaos appearing through its allowance, revealing the order within every little fragment of chaos. Each little particle has its origination, has its place in relation to the rest. So another aspect of the non-dual mind, which makes it so very non-dual, this non-dual awareness showing up through consciousness, is that it's a place where there is no separation. It's always here and now, but actually when we go back behind the one which is able to experience, to this place of the origin of experience, this space where it occurs, in this space we are all one. It's one mind. It's the same space through which somebody with a completely unique and different experience is also receiving impressions. Like it's the same listener. If we were to have a conversation, all of us, and we were really to deeply listen to each other as a group, it would be one listener, which is the group, which is not any one of us existing alone. Even when one of us speaks, we are the listener hearing those words repeated. So in the same way, this space of perceptive emptiness, which is there as the true mind, the infinite, eternal space of ourselves, is no different from the space of mind inside the other. Now, when we recognize this, it's not like we all become the same and we all become uniform and we'll all get conformed and we all have identity crisis. It's not like that at all. When we recognize this, there is an immediate easiness and delight in the difference of experience. There's an immediate celebration of all the different perspectives, of all the different points of view, of all the different ways to process. Everyone is enriched by everyone. There's no longer this notion of separation or comparison or competition, or kill or be killed, or left wing versus right wing, or this idea versus that idea, or this reality versus that reality. It's not necessary. There's a dramatic shift in attitude in which there begins a realization through the history of the mind of the interdependence of all experience, meaning every experience is of service to the whole and we are part of the whole, so we are always enriched. We don't need to be afraid anymore of someone being different from us. Now, when I say it, it's so obvious. I mean, because if we were afraid of the other people being different, being not the same, or behaving in a way that we don't think they should behave, if this is a problem to us, then we are, of course, got every reason to be afraid, because everybody is different. Because everybody does behave differently, because every experience is completely unique. So we're screwing ourselves over. So where can we be without this space of mind where difference is actually totally and absolutely natural? Like my one finger is different from the other finger. Like this moment is different from the moment before. Like this point of view is interesting when I look at a flower, but this point of view is also interesting, and the point of view of the flower itself is also interesting. All of it brings life, brings dimension to life. So we don't need to be afraid of each other anymore. We don't need to compete. We don't need to get into the blame games. We don't need to measure ourselves. We don't need to invest too much in that old hungering sensation that we are never good enough, or there's never enough for us, or that we can never get it right, or that we're always wrong. These are just sensations appearing in this open, safe, indestructible, porous space of our own minds. We don't need to dance according to our core fears, building a whole structures of life, making order of our lives in order to never experience that which we are daily investing in not experiencing. Rather, the dread that we have of betrayal or abandonment or isolation, it begins to be realized as something which is appearing as a series of physical, emotional, and mental impressions, which comes and goes through this space of who and what we really are. The mind doesn't anymore blank out and bring us into the wilderness, into the chaos. And when this leaning back is allowed to happen, this resting in the true nature of mind is permitted, we give ourselves that grace, then the compulsion to create order, which is based on old fear reflexes of needing to be in control, and every control freak is somebody who's very, very afraid. This compulsion loses its charge. It will still be there, which is totally fine, because we're able to experience also this pattern of personality from the point of view of the backdrop of mind. It's amusing even, it's sweet, but it no longer is controlling us. In the same way that the fear of chaos, the doom, that everything is going to go into chaos, and that atmosphere of chaos which we dread, no longer needs to take us hostage. We don't need to be enslaved to that fear of chaos. Rather, chaos can appear as a magnificent storm of potentiality, bubbles of bliss, life teeming with potential wanting to take form. The magnificence of a universe where all the particles are available and they haven't yet moved according to how they need to move. They're looking for each other, like partners in a dance room. Chaos no longer has to be a burden or a curse. It can be a resource of the most direct creativity. It's something which gives us oxygen and space and freedom and love and healing. Why is chaos connected with healing? Because in order to move from a place where we are statically and rigidly caught in ill-being into a place of well-being, even just with a part of ourselves, something needs to fragment. Something needs to enter a place of confusion, a place of white noise. A kind of chaos needs to come forward where we don't know what we are, who we are, or what we are anymore. The beliefs have to break down a little bit. It feels like chaos. The random factor, this feeling of things being completely random, needs to be allowed to exist in order for the movement of healing to happen. And where the mind is saying, no, it must always make sense according to the mind, which is the thoughts are formed on past understandings of how to survive pain, then the healing potential is limited. So we don't counter chaos with order, we don't counter order with chaos. What we're looking for is this shift of attitude outside of the field of direct impressions to the place where we can be the open space in which impressions are free to come and to go and to move according to their own genius. Now, it's a little bit what they call the leap of trust, the leap of faith. Because the nervous system, which is so programmed to keep control, or else the terrible thing will happen. The heart, which is programmed to stay most of the time shut until the conditions are really okay to open it, and then you need a guarantee that the conditions will stay okay. And the mind, which stays very, 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 very narrow within its own belief systems. All of this requires a certain safety. A safety which can own in order to release, and this safety can only be given by this agreement to fall back into the space between all things, the space between and beneath thoughts, the silence between and before and after all sound, the space out of which every single impression is allowed to be in a way which is free and which means it's non-binding. And in this, the whole experience of being alive becomes a little bit like a playing field. And the mind becomes free. The mind opens like a flower in the sense that the thoughts begin to work for that. The beliefs become active structures, responsive, hypothetical structures, which serve us as opposed to enslaving us. The imagination becomes part of creativity, not part of imagining our worst nightmare. Our feelings are allowed to take form through all the different vehicles of experience, whether it's physical or mental or directly emotional. So the non-dual mind is a big one. It's a big one which will lead us also beyond human into the consciousness of the planet, into the genius behind everything, as much as it wants to reveal itself according to the needs of the whole. So we take 5 minutes and then we will endeavor a little bit in relaxing into that.
Hi. I'll turn this a little bit so that I'm a little bit more in the middle, so that I'm not at few eyes you can see. Such a pleasure seeing you all. So, welcome back after our little break. So, it's time for the guided meditation. So, if you could find a comfortable position, where you can relax the body and awake the mind. So, if you found a relaxed position, just bring your attention to the physical body and to where the physical body is supported by the chair, the mattress, the couch, the floor. And maybe you can allow yourself to relax a little bit more deeply into this support. Let yourself sink a little bit more deeply into the chair, the mattress, the couch. And then I would like you to bring your conscious awareness to your left foot. We bring our conscious awareness to our left foot. And then we move our conscious awareness to our right foot. Our attention is with our right foot. And then we are aware of both feet at the same time. We are aware of both feet at the same time. And then we connect with our left knee. Our attention is with our left knee. And we move our attention to our right knee. We are conscious aware of our right knee. And then we are aware of both knees at the same time. We are aware of both knees at the same time. And then we move our attention to our left hip. We are aware of our left hip. And we move our attention to our right hip. We move our conscious awareness to our right hip. And then we spread our conscious awareness to both our hips. We are aware of both our hips. And now we bring our attention to our left hand. We are aware of our left hand. And we move our conscious awareness to our right hand. Our attention is with our right hand. And then we spread our awareness to both hands. Our conscious awareness is with both our hands. And then we move our conscious awareness to our left shoulder. Our attention is with our left shoulder. And we bring our conscious awareness to our right shoulder. We move our attention to our right shoulder. And then we spread our conscious awareness to both shoulders at the same time. Our attention is with both shoulders at the same time. And then we move our conscious awareness, our attention to our left ear. We are conscious aware of our left ear. And we move our awareness to our right ear. Our attention is with our right ear. And then we are aware of both ears at the same time. We expand our conscious awareness to both ears at the same time. And then we bring our conscious awareness to our left eye. Our attention is with our left eye. And we slowly move our conscious awareness to our right eye. We are aware of our right eye. Then we expand our conscious awareness to both eyes. Our attention is with both eyes at the same time. Then we bring our conscious awareness to the tip of our nose. Our attention is with the tip of our nose. And then we slowly, slowly, slowly move over the bridge of our nose till we find a point in between our brows. We slowly move upwards over the skin of our nose till we find a point in between our eyebrows. And allow yourself to be drawn, your conscious awareness to be drawn a little bit inside your head. And just allow yourself to relax in the space you find there. Allow yourself to relax in the space you find there. Then we let this space slowly expand through the head and around the head. Whatever there is as structures or thoughts in and around the head, we draw downwards till below the navel when we are breathing in. On breathing in, we draw our thoughts downwards till below the navel. And on breathing out, we move up to the center of the head. On breathing in, take all the thoughts, whatever is around our head and inside our head, down till below the navel. On breathing out, we move to the center of the head. On breathing in, we draw all our thoughts, whatever there is as energies, feelings, thoughts, structures, down below the navel. On breathing out, we move to the center of the head. On breathing in, We draw all the thoughts in and around our head, down till below the navel. On breathing out, we move to the center of the head. On breathing in, whatever is there as structures, thoughts, we move down till below the navel. On breathing out, we move to the center of the head. On breathing in, we move all what is there as structures, thoughts, images, whatever is there, down below the navel. On breathing out, we move to the center of the head. And then you just take some time to rest in the center of the head. Slowly becoming aware of the space in and around the head. And maybe you can allow yourself to just rest in this eternal space. We can rest in this eternal space. Maybe we become also aware of the infinity of that space. We become aware of the infinity of that space. Maybe it's possible to move slowly from this and with this eternal, infinite space downwards, through and around the body. We move slowly down with the space, through and around the body, into our shoulders. And through the arms and the chest area, to our hands, and hips, to our legs, and around our legs, to our knees, and through and around our lower legs, to our feet, and a little bit underneath our feet. And then we feel that our whole body is surrounded and is containing this infinite, eternal space. Terwijl we langzaam terugkomen, while we slowly are coming back from our meditation, we say goodbye to the people on YouTube and Facebook. And we wish them a very, very beautiful week. And thank you for sharing with us today and being here. Your presence is appreciated. And have a wonderful week. Bye.